in prize money paid out here throughout the season, but the big run for the Roses is coming up, and that'll be first horse in the pen on the 5 o'clock dot. Before we kick it off, we'll send it up to Mr. Steve Ross with our pregame show from the NRHA Sports Desk.
Hey, thanks so much, Brian. I'm so excited about this pregame show. We have so much feedback, we can't even stand it, but we're going forward anyway. We got a great finals tonight. I am joined by our esteemed panel. To my right, Allison Thorson. Allison, thank you so much. You're a heavy hitter, non-pro competitor and a businesswoman, and I can't wait to get your perspective on this finals.
Absolutely. Happy to be in this seat, and as we prepare for a great evening ahead of great horses and rider combinations.
It should be great. To her right, the great Tom Ferran, NRHA professional rider, and the list goes on and on. Tom, do you bring your hot sports opinion to this?
Oh, I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to give it my best, for sure. Well, not that everybody will agree with me necessarily, but I've given this a lot of thought, Steve.
Well, you should have, and I know you came prepared, and I know we have a really exceptionally deep field this year. I mean, we say that, but as we see our sport continue to grow and evolve, it's not just that there are great horses every year at the Futurity. For as long as I've been coming to this, there's always those few that you're really attracted to. But Allison, don't you get the sense now that it sounds cliche, but everybody in here's got a shot to win it?
Absolutely. I think we can all pick our favorites at the end of the day, and there's maybe some horses with full steam ahead. They've been building throughout the year at pre-futurities and the preliminaries and semifinals, but at the end of the day, everybody's worked really hard to be here. A lot of people worked really hard and didn't even make the cut. So this is a great group and team of riders and horses, and I know a lot of owners and breeders behind it. That's what's so neat about the Futurity with the 3-year-olds. It's new and bright and fresh, and so whoever is crowned tonight, I believe, they'll represent our sport well.
Oh, absolutely. And Tom, from a horseman's perspective, I always say that I compare this a little bit to the Triple Crown, and because for these 3-year-old reigners, they don't just have to be good tonight. They have to be peaked for 3 consecutive. In 1 week, they got to make 3 big runs.
Right. You can't rest. It goes through any of these goes.
So how do you approach getting those horses where they can maintain that high level of performance and then have their best run tonight?
Every pilot, every jockey that's in this class tonight knows these horses, has worked with these horses. They know if they have to give them a day off somewhere. I remember when Brett Stone, for example, won it on Boomernick. He had turned the horse out to pasture, took the horse down the road, kicked him out for a couple days, and then brought him back for the finals. I don't know if any of our exhibitors did that here, but that idea of a light ride, or maybe the horse needs a little harder ride before it shows, these guys know what they're doing, and they know how to peak their horses, and to your point, it is 3-year-olds. Anything can happen. They've been shown really hard twice. And I was thinking about this as we were watching the non-pro finals. This group of horses reminds me a lot of the group of horses back in, was it 95, that they said was the best Futurity group they had ever seen. This group's unbelievable. And I think, we're going to see some incredible runs this evening.
Top to bottom death, it's amazing. Here are a few horses if you're just coming to Oklahoma City, or if you haven't been able to follow along on the NRHA's live feed. We're going to show you some of the horses that got to be considered contenders tonight. We start off with the all-time leading rider, Andrea Fapani, and America's MVP. And you can't get one that's bred much better than this. Tom, this is just how breeding is supposed to work when you have a great sire and dam like this, a Walla Walla Whiz, out of the NRHA Futurity Champion mare, America's Next Gun model. Allison, what do you love about this horse?
Well, we're coming from a big group of horses, hundreds of horses starting in the preliminaries, and each is so special. But right here, this horse has great color. So you're walking in the pen. Not only do you have a great jockey and pilot there with Andrea, but he's going to come with whatever horse he has underneath him. He's going to come with full steam ahead. But this horse's color sticks out to me. We've been having Chrome Cash division. Besides horses being registered for AQHA, they can be APHA registered. So I don't know for sure on this one. You might have to fact check me, but it's just it's very unique and it stands out. Obviously, can do the maneuvers well.
He looks like a contender to me. Now, Tom, here's Jason Van Landingham. He's a guy that lives in the finals. This is a big, pretty Gunzer for shooting Gunzar vintage. He was a 222 and a 222, I think, in the go rounds. This guy never seems to let down.
No, and Jason's, like all these guys, is the complete package. This guy is so focused, works so hard. He works on not just his horses, but on himself, on his show game, on his mental game. That's why he's always a threat.
And this is such a big, pretty physical horse, too. I think he
horse.
suits Jason's system.
And I'm pretty sure this one's out of a mare. It's out of a great mare, but it's out of a mare that I think he did well, and I think he showed the mother as well, so he's going to know a lot of what's happening here.
That's always an advantage, and we're seeing so much of that be so much more prevalent, in that these top riders love that familiarity of having shown the dams. Number one, if it was a great mare, why wouldn't you want to ride more of it? But I think you see, especially with Casey Deary and Andrea Fapani and Jason, they continue to just go back to the well. Here's another rider. It's no surprise he's here. He's got 2 in tonight. Luca Fapani on Get Groovy, 443 in the go rounds. This is a Spook's Got a Whiz out of a really good mare, the great Stop Little Sister. Allison, she's the dam of a Run for a Million winner. This one's really come ready.
Absolutely. You know, what's so neat and unique about the Futurity is a lot of folks, international, you know, this is an international sport, they have their eyes here, you know, they're looking at the sires and the dams so they can pick out their own unique breeding program and see, you know, what works for them. Obviously, Spook's Got a Whiz is a, you know, a Hall of Famer horse and, you know, owner, and so it's kind of neat to see the tradition alive. Not only are the horses displaying lots of history, but then we also have the riders. Luca, you know, is a very talented and decorated young rider, and he's, you know, kind of keeping up the family tradition.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he's got 2 in tonight. Obviously, he's proud of the fact that they've come through his system, through his program. It's the first year of being on his own. He said, I've shown horses for myself while working for somebody, but now it's all on me. Now, Tom, here's a horse that really intrigues me. Cade McCutcheon and the next kid again. This horse has already had success with another rider. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this horse was down in Brazil, and it actually won the Brazilian Futurity. The rider brought him up here, showed him at the 100X in the Invitational. He was up in there, too. He got a really nice check. Cade fell in love with the horse, bought the horse, and he told me this is one of the most broke horses he's brought here. He said the gentleman who trained him, and I don't want to...
I believe Del Felipe Lacerdo had him.
Yes,
yeah.
there we go.
Just to help you out, Tom, you know.
Yeah, he told me he did an incredible job. The horse is so broke. He just trusts him, clicks with this horse, and he's, as you can see, incredibly talented.
You see that Tripoli Ranch brand on his hip, you know they got to be proud. But this looks like a horse that will let Cade show him hard. Cade's always conservative when it comes to, he'll never overshow a horse, but he will use whatever horsepower is in the tank. And it looks like the next kid again has no problem with going just as hard as he wants to send him. All right, Allison, on the diff staff side, we remain. This would be an incomplete pregame show if we didn't mention our defending champion, the first woman to win the Futurity, Casey O'Rourke. She comes back again with Gonna Be Great Again. How do you like her chances here?
You know, Casey is, you know, she's put in her time and really working hard to get to this point. Obviously, it was showcased last year winning the Futurity. What's neat about this rider-owner combo is last year, I'm kind of taking some of Tom's notes we were talking before the pregame show, but it's the same rider-owner combination. So obviously a new horse, this is Futurity 3-year-old horses only, but you know, you have the same owner, same trainer and rider, and it's very unique to see. Obviously they've found something that's successful with a teamwork, and here we have Casey back in the finals, and I'm sure she's grateful to be in that. This horse was a contender even at pre-futurities like the Congress, and even had a little bit of a sickness when she even made the finals and didn't get to make the finals back at Congress due to taking care of the horse, putting the horse first. So obviously putting the horse first is, you know, showing what it's worth.
Absolutely.
And here she is back in the finals and displaying her talent with that, along with that horse.
She is, and I love that you mentioned her connections, Peter and Courtney Morgan, who owned the Fireman last year. You know, Jack and Casey, both with horses in the finals. Now their business has grown exponentially. That win last year allowed them to buy a place. But I think they'd be the first to tell you that Peter and Courtney Morgan were their biggest and most longtime supporters. So it's great to see them having that continued success. And, well, they're giving it back to them just the same as they've given.
It's great. It takes a team, right?
Yeah.
You're building a team right now. You need to have a tremendous trainer at the top of that pyramid. You need to have a tremendous owner right there. The whole deal, the assistants, if it worked once, there's no reason to think it wouldn't work again.
It really will. And Allison, I want to bring you that before we take our first break and then come back and get our predictions. You're rooted in the world of NASCAR. You know about building a team and how it's, you know, you guys at ThorSport, you always aspire to hire the best drivers, but you also know that's just one component. How do you see the parallels between raising and training and showing these top-level horses and what you guys have been able to do in NASCAR?
Well, I think, you know, with the motorsports world and the equine or agricultural world, the Western performance industry is obviously on up and up and, you know, higher than ever with TV shows and the fanfare. So now is the time to capitalize on everything. But with both worlds, motorsports and horse and equine agricultural, it's not a 9-to-5, Monday through Friday job. This is a lifetime commitment. This is a lifestyle. So with that comes a lot of strong morals amongst people. And I think when people are building their teams, like we obviously are talking about, you know, this final nice group of horses here, but I know a lot of teams getting started. You know,
Sure.
there are some owners that I met, they purchased a 2-year-old last year with a trainer, and they said they wanted to be here. You know, they came to the first futurity last year. They wanted to make the finals. Well, guess what? They made it all the way to the finals earlier today.
Wow.
And I can speak at Craig Schmersel and Pale Wiz at the time. She made it all the way to the final 30. So, of course, we're fortunate and lucky. But when all these folks are building their teams, you know, it's all about, you know, aligning our goals. And I think maybe making sure everybody's on the same page. But what's so neat is at the root of that is great morals, you know, hard work, determination, passion. You know, if people are... which is a great American value, even though this is an international sport, and you have so many people and players coming in, not just from the United States, and I think that's what makes it so great and so unique, and why we are so all lucky to be here and enjoy the evening ahead of us with horses, riders, trainers, breeders, owners, you know, compiling everything together, and we're all growing as an industry.
Couldn't have said it any better. Hey, we would not be here without the great folks at Hart Trailers bringing us the sports desk, so we're going to take a 30-second break. And when we come back, I'm putting these guys on the spot, and I'm going to ask them to pick a winner. So stick around. We'll be back with our predictions right after this word from Hart Trailers.
I picked Sean just because I like how beautiful.
Welcome back on the
That's all right.
pregame show here at the NRHA Futurity. Steve Ross, Allison Thorson, and Tom Ferran setting the table for you for what should be an incredible finals. And Tom, we're going to start by putting you on the spot. You've watched this whole field prepare through the go-rounds. You've done your research. Who do you like to win this tonight and why?
Well, I'm going to go with Casey Deary on Maverick Buzz the Tower.
All right, now
Not
that is a
because-
chalky pick, Tom. Horse
Yes.
wins the composite, highest scoring mark through the go-rounds. Really, way to go out there on a limb.
You know, this didn't even factor into my decision. This is going to be some horse trainer logic that's dizzying. My dear friend Taylor Sheridan bought the horse right before the semis. Taylor has the Midas touch, you can say, but that's not even the reason why I did this. I found out from Casey, his shoer raised the horse,
Glenn Spradling.
had the horse, and we all know shoers pretty much get all the money at the end of the day. And I'm betting on the shoer. At least this horse is going to have great feet, and that's important. And the horse is incredibly talented.
No hoof, no horse. Hey, this is a dangerous horse, and he looks like Casey's got a stud, a mare, and a gelding in here tonight. This is the gelding. What a dream it must be for these trainers to show a gelding at the Futurity.
It really is, and Casey had nothing but great things to say about this horse. He just loves the horse, so.
He's
we'll
been
see.
in his program the whole time. I talked to Glenn Spradling, who raised him, and he said, you know, Casey's been great. But Casey gave that back and said to Glenn, you know, his 2-year-old year, it's probably geld him. And, you know, a lot of owners are like, no, we're saving him for a stallion. Glenn was like, whatever makes him a better show horse, do that. And, you know, the value of a good gelding, Allison, you know it now. Like,
I have a couple.
yeah, you have a couple,
Like they
and
say,
there
I'd
is
rather
such
have a gelding in the finals than a stallion back in the stalls.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, ooh.
You know,
So the chalk is taken.
yeah.
Tom has selected, you know, the leading contender. Allison, I know you've looked at this a lot too.
Yeah.
I want to hear you think is going to take it tonight.
You know, I'm always pulling for a sleeper or an underdog. You know, I think there's some really notable people like Rodrigo, Arno. I was watching them ride, you know, in the middle of the night last night, or, you know, after the show was over. But I'm going to have to go with experience on this one. And, you know, I'm originally from Ohio, so I'm going to pick Sean Flair on Murata's Shine Prize.
I love that.
I think this horse and rider is really coming on strong. I think experience is going to speak for itself here, and I really like this horse.
I think we've got Ohio in the house. Yeah, I love that. And, you know, there's something about seeing the man in the green shirt in Oklahoma City on a Palomino. He's had so much success here. You think about Wimpy's Old Chick, Wimpy's Old Step, the list goes on and on. But I agree with you. This horse looks like he has that physical style that fits Sean, and he could really make some noise here. Look at him go.
It's a cool horse. That's a cool horse.
Hey, and just so you know, at the pregame show at the NRHA Derby this year, remember who picked the champion?
Yes. Allison, you're reminding us once again. The guy I predicted I jinxed and his horse fell over. That's why I'll never wear the Pete DeFreitas mask again. Pete did go over the $1 million mark, though, and I'm thrilled for him here, and he's got a couple in the finals. All right. My prediction's a little bit of an outlier. But I heard something in college football this week from the great Nick Saban. He was telling a story about when he was his first coaching job, a fourth down to go to the state playoffs, and he was the offensive coordinator, and his head coach said, when the pressure's on, it's about players, not plays. Get the ball in the hands of your best player. And I thought the most talented horse I saw all week was Bellissimo for the Archeses. Had all kinds of adventures in the second go-round, 10 penalty points, and still overcame all that to get the last hole into the finals. See, a 1-point penalty nearly put him off pattern there. But this horse is just dripping talent, and, you know, half-point penalty there, and then he broke gate in the right circles. He overcame all that because it looked so easy for him. The horse was a little spooky in the first go. They've been riding him around the fairgrounds like a trail horse all week. Casey told his assistants, we're not going to lope him and get him tired, but just go ride him at a walk and let him see as much as he can. So I'm reminded of what he did in 1030, on 1030 when he won the Futurity on him a few years ago. Barely made it in the second go-round, had a lot of trouble with that horse just getting through the pattern, got him dialed in for the finals and was lights out. And I'm betting that Casey can do that again. In addition to that, he's draw 30. He knows exactly what he has to do. He will already have gone on his mare and gelding, so he should feel good about it at that point. And, you know, if he hits, he's going to win it. I just feel like I'm betting on the fastest horse in the race, but I love the picks you guys had.
We'll see. It's a horse race, like they say, any given Sunday.
It really should. I feel like tonight, this Futurity's been a little unique. You know, we haven't had the ancillary riders here. We hate that they weren't here, but at the same time, it's kept all the focus right here. I feel like we're on the verge of a really special finals tonight. Allison, you've been a lot of big events, a lot of big horse events tonight. You feel that electricity in the room. Do you feel like this group of horses has what it takes to emerge with maybe what's a great one?
Absolutely. You know, what's so neat about Oklahoma City is the Futurity in Oklahoma City, you know, with you know, all the roots in Jim Norrick Coliseum, and now here we are at OG&E Coliseum. Is this our first Futurity in the OG&E?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's our first Futurity here in OG&E. I was just spouting that off, but I just kind of thought of it. So, you know, we're keeping up with the times, modernizing, great arena. There was a lot of attendance in the non-pro finals last night, which I thought was fantastic. And so I'm just going to keep thinking we're going up and up and up.
I can't wait. Hey, we've about run out of time here on the pregame show, but I really want to thank NRHA professional Tom Ferran. He'll be joining me tonight, bringing you the play-by-play action in only 40 minutes, and of course, non-pro deluxe Allison Thorson from ThorSport. Allison, thank you so much for joining us, bringing your perspective to this. We love your professionalism, and it makes for a great pregame show. We'd like to keep doing these. We love that you enjoy them too. We're going to throw it back down to Brian Lookabill now. We got a great ceremony in the next 40 minutes to really set the table for you for what should be one for the record books. Brian?